everybody.
Congratulations, everybody. We're back.
Congratulations.
Yes, man. You got to congratulate these people.
Oh yeah, good job, guys.
Thank you very much for once again bringing us back. We received some follows. All of our friends and not friends, if we don't know you and don't know you, we appreciate the follow. It definitely warms my heart, and it makes us want to keep going and hopefully keep ranting with this shit. But what do we have today?
Today we're drinking Mind Haze IPA by Firestone Walker. It's a little bland. It's not as flavorful as I wanted, but still refreshing for a warm summer day.
Warm summer day. I think that's why I picked it up. Honestly, and then the visuals kind of got me. I knew what I was gonna get. You know, can't really get too much, but the visuals kind of got me. I'm like a sucker. I'm like a little fish. I think they're attracted to like light and stuff like that. So I got attracted to the visual.
Or like a child, you also get.
I am a child. According to my mother, I'm a child. She wants me to hurry up and get married and get out the house and all this stuff. She says if I'm worried about being alone or whatnot, I said, Maria, chill, be cool.
Dude, you need to
chill
be
out.
an adult.
Listen, man, I love being
an adult. Start adulting.
Man, I adult from 8 to 5. But anyways, so today's topic is actually an interesting one, and I know I've talked about with a lot of my friends. Actually, this came from one of my good friends. He said something about tipping. He wanted us to talk about tipping, like I just mentioned, and how he feels that he shouldn't have to tip. And, you know, he said, you know what, I want to hear your opinion. And I told him, I won't tell you now. Let me find the right time, and I'll bring up a podcast or episode on this. So today is dedicated to tipping, and I don't know how a lot of people feel, but if you'd like to drop a comment, a comment, let us know, and definitely like to know how you guys feel about this.
And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Hit that subscribe somewhere in here, wherever it is, or somewhere right here. But yeah, like and subscribe. It's one of those, right? So anyways, yeah. So I think a lot of people, you know, are misinformed about tipping. And what does that really even mean, right? People
well,
don't
the thing is that I don't like tipping either, but I do it. I have my reasons why I do it. But I don't like the idea of tipping. And, you know, according to the article we're reading, which is a Yahoo article, and, you know, based on some civic science, what's it called? Surveys.
Mm-hmm.
They explain a little bit more about it, but still, I don't like it. And we'll definitely get into it, but it's a social etiquette for sure. We're all kind of used to it. We're all kind of been, you know, exposed to it, at least here in America. But I'm like, what do you think about tipping? Like you personally?
I personally, I mean, if I had a choice, can I deal without it? Yes, of course. I mean, why the hell do I want to give extra money to this? Do I mind it? I used to mind it less when I had less money. Or I used to mind it more when I had less money. Not that I have a lot of money now, but I used to definitely like, I got a tip. But yeah, it doesn't really bother me. I think it bothers me over a certain amount because I'm like, like I know that I kind of have to tip. But if it's like a smaller tip, couple bucks extra, hey man, you did a good job. But once it kind of gets up there, you're like, dude, I really got a tip now. I think that's when it bothers me more. When it's because, you know, typically these higher tips that I do are usually at bars. I'm like, I don't get why you just pour me a freaking beer. You didn't really do much.
Yeah,
like a well-made drink, yeah, I've been known to actually leave a little extra because I see the art and I see the skill and it takes something. But somebody just pour me a beer.
Yeah, so I think that's the issue, like because there's all kinds of different services that you get sometimes, and you're always in a lot of them you're expected to tip.
Yeah.
Like for example, a dude at a restroom in a restroom handing you a towel.
I don't like that. I am huge. That's one I do not like.
Yeah, so yeah, like you know, I see them especially when I go to like concerts or something. I'm having beers like when I'm at a concert. I'm having a drink, so you know, like throughout the concert, I need to go take a piss, right? And you always see. I mean, I guess I kind of feel bad because usually a paisa, you know, like guy handing you, so, you know, but
a less fortunate Hispanic,
right? But you know, it's like, dude, come on, like every time I can't take a piss, I need to you expect a tip? Is that what it is? So sometimes I don't even want to wash my hands.
Well,
Like,
listen,
dude, I can grab my own towel. You know, it's
well,
not that big of a deal.
it's not that big of a deal. I actually act like I don't know how to speak Spanish, and I just go, like I got none. And most of the time I don't carry cash with me, but yeah,
Oh, and that's another thing too. The cash,
Yeah.
like, dude, I don't carry cash, so it's like, how am I? I feel bad that I have to wash my hands.
yeah.
I don't have cash, and I still feel, that kind of like, dude.
So I don't even wash my hands.
Sometimes I don't.
I go and
either.
start touching shit and spreading my germs. But a lot of people don't understand though. Like I know here in America, well, a little bit of history. So a lot of this stuff did come from Europe, more specifically Great Britain, where it actually came from a lot of the wealthier people who would give their kind of
The aristocrats.
yes, they would give their what do they call them? Their like servants or whatever, a couple extra coins, right? Here, have a couple extra coins for your
That sounds southern though.
yeah, right? For your for your day's work.
Good try.
Yeah, good try. Go feed little whatever, some whatever. But
Little
anyway,
Billy.
yeah, so go get them some soup. So that's really what it came from. I think a lot of Americans actually picked that up, going, traveling from here to Europe, and they brought that back. And obviously, that's now seems like it's interweaved with American kind of like etiquette,
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, I've definitely visited other states where the federal minimum wage for those kind of service workers is $2.13. I remember the first time I actually was out in Texas, and then I was just thinking I didn't really think too much of it, and I tipped. I think I tipped pretty generously. It was at a bar, and then the person I was with or whatever, like, hey, you know what, like, no, actually got a couple drinks in return. Like he kind of like low key was like, here, take it. I'm like, hmm. So I go back and say, hey, we got a couple extra drinks. Like what? Like I tipped pretty nicely or whatever. And then they were like, oh, dude, like, yeah, they don't.
Oh, you're from California.
Yeah, no, but they were like, oh, yeah, they only get paid $2.13. So people just leave a couple bucks. I'm like, how much you leave? Like I told her it's like north of $10 for like the drinks, because usually what I would tip over here. And then she's like, yeah, that was it. That's why. But anyways, I didn't realize that it was $2.13, right? So
As a federal minimum.
no, federal minimum wage is $7.25. But for those type of employees, I think service-based employees
Right.
is $2.13.
Yeah, so according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, employers are only required to pay tipped employees a minimum of $2.13 an hour. If the worker's tips can add up to the federal minimum wage of $7.25. Okay. So that's a requirement if it adds up to $7.25.
Because they say
more.
that whatever tip is going to add up to an adequate range, and they have this equation that ties in where they live. I think it's bullshit.
So yeah, I mean, I wasn't even aware about the Bureau of Statistics or Labor Statistics as a minimum wage for tipped employees. So after you understand that, it kind of makes a little bit more sense why I guess here in California, obviously you need to get the minimum wage, and I'm sure that most or a lot of restaurants, servers probably do make minimum wage, from my understanding. So I guess it makes sense that, like, to me, after understanding this, okay,
it's kind of fucked up. Well, think about it, because a lot of these jobs that are tip jobs, they're not the best jobs. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of these jobs you're dealing probably in the food industry, which is probably the worst type of fucking people to deal with. People that are hungry and are expecting this freaking type of service, and then they're gonna
picky.
They're picky as hell, and they're gonna still treat you like
I hate
shit.
those picky ass.
Right, dude? It's like embarrassing. It's like I feel embarrassed when somebody's like, "Can I get the manager over here?" Like, shut the fuck. So you really aren't that like well mannered to where you can really solve whatever issue you had going on with that server, that you really had to bring in the manager, as the manager's going to come and give you like what? You're going to get complimentary meals for the rest of your life?
We do live in an entitled society, so
That's
what do you
expect?
expect?
No, definitely. But going back, these jobs are pretty backbreaking, man. They're pretty demanding. So
yeah,
I see.
And I get it. And again, like, I don't like tipping, but I do it. And again, depending on the service, I definitely do add a little more if I get some good service, because I do appreciate that. I know they're, working their asses off to just be attentive and provide whatever you're requesting.
Yeah.
So no, of course, I don't like it. I kind of preferred that it changed from, the management or whatever, like they actually got paid more and I didn't have to deal with that, because sometimes, again, like there's certain things that, like, dude, I really, like, you expect a tip, you didn't do much,
Right.
like your baristas, for example. I don't know about baristas.
They actually have like
They have some skill,
it's
but
like a
it's like,
skill, yeah. Because I've met some shitty baristas, like they're just like fumbling things and just like they don't even.
but I don't personally know how
Listen, so
good you are at it.
quick little story. When I was young, I used to work when I was in high school. I used to work at a juice it up. So I think that's kind of similar to that. So I do remember how tough it was. We didn't get no tips. We just got the minimum wage. But I do remember like how people get so picky, and it's like I don't. And it's just like, what the heck? Did you just not see me running back and forth? And I got a line and I got all this stuff, and I still wasn't getting tipped, right? But I was just happy I had a job at 16 years old. But anyways, and then when I got really good, I was handling everything at once. And then at that point, I felt like, man, I should be getting paid more for this. Like just handling like five.
Skill.
Yeah, it's really. I'm like being skillful. I have everything ready to go, and I'm checking everything out like I should. So yeah, at that point, I was like, yeah. So I do have some sort of sympathy for those people.
No, and again, I do
yeah,
too,
yeah,
and
definitely.
that's why I tip. But I don't like to tip for it, because sometimes you just don't know. Like, all right, like, especially, like, go to a pricier place that obviously the meal is more expensive, but they provided the same service equivalent, like they were there attentive or not, whatever. But just because the meal is more expensive, like you have to tip them more too. I'm like, I don't see the equity there, between the
I know
two.
what you mean.
Because I understand that, the people or servers who work at fancier restaurants, they definitely make a lot more money, but it's because of that, because the tip is based on the percentage of the meal. So you're paying 15 to 20% on a $30 meal compared to a $100 meal. Like there's a difference in that, even though you're doing, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I've never been a server, so I don't know.
But this is the thing too, though. Usually at those higher restaurants and stuff, it's a better quality meal, period, or at least you hope so. And actually, these tips aren't necessarily just going to the servers 100%. They actually divide with the chefs, and they'll divide with
Okay, so
with the
but
other
then
like the bussers and stuff like that. I do know like that. I do know, at least from the people that have worked in those type of restaurants, is that their tip is not 100% as far as what they get from that. So they do.
No, but even just from a server,
it's like their etiquette. The thing is, it's like the service etiquette to tip the bus. They don't. I don't think they have to, but they still kind of do it. It's kind of like etiquette. It's like we tip, and it kind of just trickles down.
Maybe, I don't know.
I know it.
I don't know too much about it, but at the same time, it's like the quality of the price of the food. Who's getting? I mean, like, who's benefiting from the higher? I mean, the service, what they're doing, it almost seems like it's the same amount of work. Maybe the chef not, because they actually require like higher skill in order to prepare a fancier meal,
a better meal,
but
a great steak or.
But I mean, like the steak, they're not buying it. It's the owner who's paying for that, right? So it's like, that's what I'm saying. I see a little bit of disconnect.
So you don't. So I know what
in terms of what their work.
So, but do you don't think it's how many people do you actually know that can cook a properly steak? How many?
Me?
I mean, aside from us, how many? That's so. There's definitely some type of work and diligence and stuff like that there by the part of the chef.
I'm talking about but the price of the food itself. Never mind.
It's a complicated kind of issue.
And that's what the whole point of this.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to bring. You see, we don't have the answers, and we're not acting like we do. We're having a genuine conversation here about what we think and what we don't think. I would love to get some people again in the comments section of people that have actually done it. Am I just kind of blindly by what I've been told by a couple of people as far as the tips and the service and then them tipping other people? Is the quality of the food, really that great for you to justify, like you're saying, to justify that extra tip, because it is a $60 steak or $60 meal or $100,
Right.
whatever you're talking about. So yeah, definitely. But actually, I know last week we talked a little bit about the great divide in the country, and this is the ultimate divide at this point, is the Republicans and the Democrats. And guess who tips more, or at least better? Who would you think going into this that would tip better?
Well, if I had to guess, before I read this article,
Yeah.
I probably would have said the Democrats because they pretend like they're more righteous and shit.
Right? Isn't that crazy? Like I mentioned the other time.
That's
But
wrong.
that's wrong. You guys, listen. It's actually the Republicans. By the survey that was actually done by a Princeton survey research they were doing it for, I guess, for creditcards.com, which, if you guys don't know who that is, they actually produce a lot of like different information and data on credit card stuff. Go check them out. They're actually kind of cool. But Republicans tip better frequently at a higher rate than Democrats, and you would think these are the people that are fighting for the $15 a minimum wage and whatever they're asking for, and you would think they're for the people, right?
So the Democrats, you cheap bastards.
Shame on you guys. And if you're liberal, you're probably not tipping. Listen, you might be socially liberal, but your wallet is conservative. So,
Yeah.
All righty. But that was an interesting one. That was just a little fun one right there for you. But the next one, I think men and women do tend to
See
tip
that
higher.
one.
But that one, you had a point
yeah.
on that. Go ahead.
I would. What point?
Well, you had a good point about why you think women tip higher than men. Because they're paying for their own meals, so in percentage.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, initially I would have said just because they're more, they care more, and they're more in that. Like before getting to that, like they're more compassionate about people and all that. So that would have been my initial response. But I also think that women usually paying for their own meals. They're not paying for, on a date. They're not paying for a date. Maybe they're kids, I guess, but they're not paying for anything besides that. Men are paying for the date. They're paying for the family if they're going, with the family or their wife or whatever. Yeah. So it's going to add up. And because of that, that's my reasoning why men would also pay more because, it's expensive to go out to, a restaurant on a date and you're paying $100 or whatever it is.
Easily for a family of four.
And, if you're going to pay 15 to 20%, that's $15 or $20. Right? Well, I'm going to try to gear towards the least amount just because I'm already paying for two people or, whatever, or a family. If you have a family, that's a couple kids and the wife and you. So because of that, I would imagine that they're a little bit more conservative with their wallet just because they are trying to, keep some money for themselves.
Listen, man, you still got to pay for gas. Picking up your date or whatever, or taking your kids there and there. So yeah, definitely. A little bit more.
The article doesn't really talk about that. Yeah. That's just my personal, opinion.
That's just the sauce we add to this. It's the meat and the bone are there. We just flavor it this way. But no, definitely. And so going back to the beginning, I know one of my younger buddies did bring this up, and yes, he is a millennial. And guess who is the worst tippers of them all?
Millennials.
If I had to guess, cheap bastards. So yes.
I'm a millennial too.
We are too, but I think we had a call earlier today and we talked about it. I know I'm like on the kind of medium lower and he's on the medium higher part of it, but we kind of agree a little bit more on the whole tipping. But yeah, millennials tend to be the worst tippers. And some of them actually, so it said 59% of millennials, 59%, so almost 60%, said that they leave a 3% tip or nothing. That thing that equated.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on. You got more than 75 fucking cents on a $20 meal. Come on, man. That's kind of embarrassing.
Making us look bad.
Men look bad. Listen, build the case for us men out there, guys.
No, I'm talking about millennials, not men necessarily, but yeah, dude. That's anyway.
Yeah, man. That I was, but I think some of the reasons this article did give was part, more on the side of like they don't believe in the tipping culture, which is kind of true. It's kind of what I got from my friend. He says he doesn't feel like that you should be giving extra money for something that's your job, which he might have a point, and that's just the way he sees it. And
again, I see that point too, and I kind of like that's my thing too. But again, after understanding the whole, most of them do get minimum wage, and some of them really bust their asses up to provide best service, and especially after you're dealing with assholes throughout the day. Maybe not all of them, but a few here and there. You have to put up with that. It's like, all right, so if you're doing a good job, why not tip a little.
So on a side note, dealing with assholes and stuff like that you bring that up. Side note, I work. An asshole? I am an asshole, for the most part, but I'm a nice, loving, caring. Anyways, so no, today I actually got into a conversation with a front desk person. I sell to hotels, and obviously that's a service-based industry, right? And I was talking to her, and she was, nice little girl and stuff, and she was telling me that. I was like, you probably like deal with a lot of assholes, and she's like, more than you think. I was like, I asked her, how many do you think you kind of deal with as far as like being asshole and douches? And I was like, I kind of gave her a figure. I said 5 to 6 maybe people in an 8-hour shift. She's like, she said at least half of these people are either self-entitled, being rude some type of way, feel like they should deserve something because something wasn't right, and they just kind of go to the highest extreme. Some of these people don't really even have money. I don't know whether they're getting hotels anyways. There's Airbnbs out there. I shouldn't be saying this because I actually work for them, so no, get back to the hotels. But I think it's just like they have a shitty thing at home, and anytime it's a service-based thing, they just want to feel like more important and shit. But
yeah.
Anyways, so one of the fun ones that we actually liked was the race can affect tipping. Oh no, honey, you know a lie? My bad. But
so you had a good point. You were
did.
Telling a story earlier.
Can I say
about
it again?
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like this episode I've been full of stories. More than the usual. But yes, I was talking to my lady friend, and she was telling me that she now when she's gonna go get her nails done and her feet done, she was saying that people or these nail places are asking them to pay up front.
Who typically sells nail places?
The Asian community tends to perform those type of service-based jobs. So they're actually requiring them to, pay up front and leave a tip. And she thinks that's bullshit. She's like, no, hell no, because, the tip is usually based on the type of level of service that you've given me, especially with something like that. And I kind of understand it. Look, if I go get my hair done and I get a 5-star kind of thing and I feel good and they do all this, I might be a little bit more generous. I'm not going to like break the bank over it, but I might leave a couple extra dollars. But she makes a good point. Like,
yeah,
why do she have to tip? Why do people have to tip up front? Especially when it's a service-based job. Like anytime over the counter, I never tip. I know the receipt says tip. Who does that? That's just you're making me a burger. Whatever. But when it comes down to like she was mentioning, a service-forward, service-based job, it's she feels like she should be able to tip at the end.
I agree. It makes sense. Yeah, because when I heard that, I'm like, yeah, how the hell you tip, up front if you don't know what kind of isn't that the point of the tips? Unless you're a virgin, yeah. But anyway, that's another point. But anyway, no, yeah, dude.
You surprise me every time, man. Anyway, sometimes. So we were saying, so definitely race can affect. It seems like white people tend to tip the highest. Second is...
And you guys, everyone blames the whites.
White privilege. Listen, if it was white privilege, they wouldn't be tipping at all. So apparently it's not that, at least towards that.
But anyway, yeah, it's... white people tip the most, then
Hispanics,
Hispanics,
then Asians,
then Asians. No, no, no. Oh yeah, and then blacks.
and then
I mean,
blacks.
the point out here is, yeah, a lot of it is cultural, and I get that. You know, like I understand. Like, for example, I've known several Asians, and they are definitely, that's not their thing. So I get it. So, you know, I'll give these folks a pass.
Yo, this is a crazy one. People with higher incomes tip less.
That I don't know, man.
That one's beyond me. People in the northeast tip the best, and people in the west coast tip the worst. So that's us. You know, LA, great. You know, Los Angeles, greater area, whatever. We tip the worst. So, anyways, it was just something a little bit. I know we can continue to keep going on in this. We're running a little bit on time here, but listen, man. If my thing is, I tip for all of the Mexicans that don't. So I do tend to tip a little bit better. He does accordingly. I do too, but I'm a little generous at time from time. So,
look, I still tip. I still feel that obligation, that, you know, societal pressure, even though I think society is bullshit, but I still feel that in certain areas, and this is one of them. Especially again after understanding this, the whole minimum wage thing, and just how much I have to put up with. So again, I wish there was another way, a better way, that it was already included. That, you know, but anyway.
like, rate this meal, rate this or whatever. But you know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, if you feel like you just want to tip and you want to tip accordingly, just double the tax. That's it.
Yeah.
It's about 15-16%.
If they really suck though, like if they give you some shitty service,
Also leave a couple bucks.
but percentage wise,
Percentage what? I just do whatever the tax would be.
so maybe some 7-8%.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
8%.
I mean, I don't even know they deserve tip. I still also tip, but
Because I don't know if that was just an isolated issue.
but if it is, you know, they like that should also be a way for them to know that, you know, if it's a nice, like if they're having a really bad day, because that happens too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're having a really bad day, you're not in a mood, but at least now you're getting less tips, and that should tell you, like, all right, well, don't come to work that day, or, you know, whatever it is. But
So, alrighty. So again, thank you guys for the support. We appreciate you guys. Shout out to all the faithful listeners. Please like and subscribe.
And
Tell
comment.
and tell a friend. Those listening to us on the audio portion only. Again, we don't really know you guys too well, but thank you very much. Whether you're from this country or another country, or whoever you might be, we definitely appreciate you guys.
Alien.
Or an alien. Hopefully, Area 51. Is that over? Is that over? People not going.
I haven't heard much about it.
I haven't either. Hey, was that a cover up? Hey, government conspiracies next episode. Imagine. Just kidding. But thank you very much. Peace and love. We love you guys.